Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is Leslie and today I'm sharing the second video in a series that I am sharing with you on how I made my 8x8 album. And you'll see that I cut out 3 pieces of cardboard. The one on the left is 8.5 by 8.5 inches, so is the one on the right. That will be the front and the back of the book, and the piece in the middle, the 4" by 8.5" is the spine of the book. Now the paper that I'm sticking the cardboard to is just some scrapbook paper that I don't like, so I am going to cover it all up in the end, but it's really good paper, it's thick paper, so it works pretty well for the binding of this. You'll see that I do leave about a 1/4 inch between the 3 pieces, just between the spine and the front and the back of the book, and that is just to allow the front and the back of the book to fold over, and yeah, it's sort of those gaps create the hinges for the book. The bits that I'm cutting off here is just so that the edges of the paper fold over nicely along the cardboard. And the cardboard I used was really nothing special. I think it's packaging from something I bought from IKEA. So you can use anything. You can use chipboard, you can use thin wood veneer, you can use cardboard box, anything that is fairly flat you can use. And you'll see here I'm using my bone folder, excuse me, just to fold over the edges and to make sure that everything is nicely folded over and there are no creases in the folds and in the paper. Now I do use a lot of glue while creating this book. I have made a couple of these using double-sided tape. However, I find that the glue holds up better than the double-sided tape. Some of it, when I use the double-sided tape, some of the books have come apart, especially the spine and the front and back side of the book. So you don't want that to happen. At least you want the book to stay together, hey? So in my experience, just using normal craft glue would do the job perfectly. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm just using my bone folder to make sure that I even out all the creases and that I fold the paper over properly, and that everything is down nice and flat. Excuse me. It's asthma season in Dubai, so I have myself a horrible bout of asthma at the moment, so just excuse the coughs. So there, you'll see I also just even out the glue bits so that if there are little bumps of glue and little deposits of glue, that they all just evened out nicely underneath the paper. And so there you see, that is the basic framework, or like the basic skeleton of the book, if you want to say that, the armature of the book. And here you'll see I'm just measuring, I think I measured 8, because I knew that the cardboard was 8.5 inches and I wanted to make the pages 8 inches. So I think I measured 8 inches here, just from the outside of the book to the inside, so that I could know how far into the outside of the cardboard I want to stick the proper cover, the cover that I want on the book. So you'll see that I just keep on reinforcing the hinges, just to make sure that the paper stretches nicely over those hinged bits. And there I'm also just measuring 1 inch so that everything looks nice and uniform. Excuse me. The thing with making a book like this is you don't want too much variety. Variety is good, don't get me wrong, but you want some uniformity because you don't want the attention, you don't want the eye to be drawn to the cover of the book or to little details like this. You want the eye to be drawn to the contents of the book. So you want to keep the outside of the book very uniform, very basic. There you'll see I'm just running my bone folder along the edges of the book just to square out those edges. Now I'm going to be using this paper, you'll see here with the frames on it, as the cover for the front of the book. And you'll see that orange paper will be covered completely. You won't even see that. And it's a good idea to use some strong, good quality paper for the initial binding of the book, like that orange paper I used there. I think that is some die cuts with a view paper. So it's thick paper and it's good quality paper. It won't tear or anything, and I'm going to be sticking a lot of layers on there in any case, so it's going to hold quite well. So I'm using my bone folder again just to straighten out some of the creases and just to make sure everything is nice and flat and stuck down properly. And I'm cutting that paper out just an inch off the edge of the cardboard, and also just cutting the corners off, however just leaving a little, about 1 millimeter on the corner, so that when I fold the two edges over, that the corner is nicely covered. Now that paper is also from Die Cuts with a View paper pack. It's from a paper pack called Happy Day, and if you watched my previous video, the first one in this series, I show you on how I show you how I put the kit together, and how I decided on what products I would use in this album and so on. I'm mainly going to be using the Jen Hadfield Heart of Home collection, but I do have some Studio Calico elements, embellishments, and some Freckled Fawn, some Die Cuts with a View, and yeah, I think that's it that I'll be using. Oh, and some Project Life, and obviously loads in my stash that I have forgotten where they come from, but I'm going to be using some stash in it as well, and it's always good to get rid of your stash, hey? So there again, just using my bone folder to smooth out those edges, left about 1 millimeter there on the corner, and I'm going to be using a lot of glue. So I think I almost used that entire bottle of glue just on the construction of my book. And when I started putting the pages together, I also added all my embellishments, all the papers to the pages, everything with glue. I didn't use my ATG at all. I didn't use any double-sided tape at all in the making of this book. As I said, that I haven't had too much success with tape and with double-sided tape in making these books. And I'm not sure if it's the humidity here in Dubai. It gets very humid and hot here, so I'm not sure if it's the humidity, because everything curls up and falls off, and yeah. So I'm not sure why the double-sided tape really doesn't work for me here, but I do use a lot of the glue, so that really works. So here you'll see I just took some, I think that's 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and it's a sort of a creamy color, and it is the same white as the white in the Jen Hadfield collection. It's the white in the Jen Hadfield collection is not white, it's got this sort of creamy look to it, and this cardstock is the same. So I'm just using both sheets, 2 sheets, to just stick on the inside of my book, and you'll see that I'm overlapping them on the spine, because I want the spine to be nice and strong, and I want the spine to stay together, and obviously in the end not fall apart, because that's the part of the book that is going to be carrying the most weight, obviously, is the spine. So yeah, so again, reinforcing the hinges just so that the paper stretches and molds nicely in the hinge. And that lovely little tune was my washing machine telling me my washing is done. Okay, so I am now going to be making the hinges for the pages that will be going on the spine. I scored every 1/4 inch of that paper, and the paper is 8 inch by 11 inches. And I'm going to be folding them on every 1/4 inch. And you'll see that the first little bit I keep straight. The second and third fold I glue together. The fourth fold, or the fourth bit, I leave straight again. And the fifth and the sixth I glue together. The seventh I leave open. The eighth and ninth I glue together. So you get how that's going to go. So I do glue them together with my liquid glue as well, and I'm just using those cute little clips just to keep the hinges together as the glue dries. You want the glue to dry properly. You don't want to be hasty in doing this, and there you see. That took quite a while, so I did fast forward through all of that, and I've got 13 hinges, and that will be able to make 13 pages in my book. And it's just wide enough. I made it 4 inches wide, and that's why there's 13 pages. If it wasn't 4 inches wide, there wouldn't be 13 pages. So here I'm just taking my bone folder again, going in between every hinge just to make sure that everything's glued down nice. And you want to put a lot of pressure on this, and you want to go over it and over it and over it with your bone folder to make sure that the glue adheres properly and goes into all of the little nooks and crannies of your hinges. So the more you fold your book shut and open and so on, the easier it'll be for you to put your pages in. And that's it for the book. Please watch out for my next video in this series where I will show you how I put the pages together. Okay, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.